Good morning, you guys. I just parked right outside the gym. Actually, Tuesday, Thursday is 2 days for boxing. So I'm gonna head in and meet my new boxing trainer. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I wanted to cover things that I have learned and realized after being in real estate for 2 years. So a couple of things that I have realized is I always thought that, a measurement for how successful you are as a real estate agent is how many sales that you accumulated and how much gross commission that you make in a year. I think that's a definition of how successful you are. But now, after being in the business for a few years, I realized the most important thing is not so much about the sales that you have currently. It's more of the sales that you are planning to have in the future and how much sale and how many leads that you have in your pipeline. And I think that's extremely important. And in order to have that, it's, obviously your daily routine and your daily production that you have to always stick with the most effective way to produce leads every day. So that's kind of why I've been just, pretty much on my phone with social media too. My goal is always to get a lot of leads and, qualify the leads and to get the most effective seller leads possible. And one update that I wanted to update you guys is I don't really take any buyers anymore. However, right now, currently, I have 2 buyer agents under me that are working for me. So I kind of have a team, but I don't really have a team structure. But if you guys have any buyer referrals for me too, somebody who's looking to move to Philadelphia, feel free to reach out. Okay, so let's get into the video. In today's video, I want to talk about 5 things that I've learned in real estate after being in the business for 2 to 3 years. And the first thing is learn to say no to people. I know when you first started selling, especially when you're new, any client that you can take, possibly you're always going to take it. You don't really filter it out. You don't always say no to people because you think that could be a possible client. But if you're in the business for a few years, you would know there are different qualities in different buyers or sellers. If it's a really good seller lead, you would definitely ask them how soon are they thinking about moving. If they have a money problem, do they have to sell? Usually a have to sell seller is definitely better than the seller who can wait. They don't have to sell. If it's investment property, they're getting really good rental income, they don't have to sell. Then that's not a good lead. As far as the buyer goes, if the buyer, let's say they are upgrading, they're having a baby and the baby is due in 2 to 3 months and they are looking to buy, they're looking to buy in a good school district area, they're looking to buy in a good neighborhood, they know exactly where they're going to buy, they know how big the size the home is. If those are the buyers that you're currently dealing with, you should try to close them as soon as possible because they're really good buyer leads. So if the people who are investor, they're first time investor, they don't know what they're looking for, they have no criteria, those are not that good of investor or buyer for you. Therefore, sometimes people just wanted to ask you to do them a favor, look up the comps for them for free. I mean, you can do those things, but a lot of time if people are just using you, but then they end up buying it with another agent, that's the time you should probably say no to these people. And as far as listing agents, sometimes there are for sale by owners who are just so stuck on the idea of they don't want to use an agent, or they are extremely high on the price point that they couldn't just go down. they're not listening to you, they're not trusting you to do your job, those are the clients that I will right now probably say no to them and stop working with them. So the next one I want to say is learn to produce leads on your own. The way I think this one is extremely important, and I've realized is when I first started, I do kind of depending on, you know, my team leader or broker, Joey, to give me some leads to help me start out. But right now, being in the business for a few years, Joey doesn't give me leads anymore. If he has any buyer leads, you know, maybe seller leads that he doesn't have time for, but if it's the buyer leads, he usually gives to new agents. So everything that I have and lead gen, I'm pretty much doing it on my own, which kind of leads me to think, you know, I am my own independent contractor. If this brokerage is not producing me any value, if my broker is not teaching me, I don't really learn anything from him, and my splits are really bad, I can just go to any brokerage that I want. And as you being as a new real estate agent, try to be independent is the most important thing too. And lead gen is also a key factor for you to kind of be independent. And number 3 is learn to be humble and be nice to people, be resourceful, and treat others the way that you wanted to be treated. So I have to make a confession. I know last year, in one single month, I think I've taken 3 or 4 listings, and a lot of time when I'm on the phone, there are buyer agents who are calling me, just asking me a lot of non-urgent questions. They don't really, I tell them to text me, but then they kind of just call me, and I think my tone sometimes can sound rude. You know, it's just when you are doing other stuff and then people kind of like interrupt you in the middle. Like it's hard in this business to stay humble, especially if you're producing. But learn to be humble is really important, because if you look up, there's always people who are better than you, and you don't know the people that you're dealing with right now. Maybe later on in the future, you might ask that person for a favor. I mean, it's just, you know, learn to be humble and don't be rude. And once upon a time, I was kind of rude. Number 4 is learn to save and set a budget and stick with it. Always pay yourself last. So last month, I bought a house. I went a little crazy on I still stick with the budget for my renovation, but there are other costs like furnitures and stuff like that. You know, I kind of went on a board just a little bit over, and I realized that, you know, my goal for next year is to save up enough down payment for a rental property. And for me to achieve that, I also have to save enough to put in my Roth IRA. I have an HSA account, and I'm also having life insurance. So there's a lot of money. Every time when I get a commission check, I have to take it out. I always save 30% for tax, and then, you know, I save 25% for a down payment for the rental property, and then I take out monthly a lot of costs too, and not including marketing costs. So, you know, for me to stay extremely just stay within my budget is crucial, and I think that also helps me realize, you know, how crucial it is for you guys also. If you're a new agent, you're not making that much commission, you should always pay yourself last and then save as much for the time that you're not going to get paid right away, because it is commission based, so you're not going to be getting salary weekly. So last but not least is to learn to have an easy mind. You know, especially when you have a lot of business going on, things don't go the way that you wanted. Everybody knows with real estate, whether if it's a buyer or it's a seller, there's always different party involved. Even if you did your job 100% accurate, you are right on point, you're on time, you know, you are 100% with your job, but other people could have problems to cause this deal not to close. So there is a way that I find that's super helpful for me is to not stay or focus on my active deals. Obviously, I want to get my actives to close, but I don't spend too much time thinking about the problem or the trouble that I have with my current pending deals. I'm always focusing on getting new sellers and new business. So that way, you know, I am stressed out. I am sometimes thinking about why this person will act this way, but I'm just trying not to spend as much time to think about the problem. Instead, I'm trying to, you know, educate myself on getting future business and lead gen. So that way, my business always at a ongoing, and it's always, you know, producing new business, and it helps me stay on track. So here are the 5 things that I have realized after being in business for 2 to 3 years as a new real estate agent. And I hope you guys enjoy my video. If you watch until the end, please comment fortune cookie down below and subscribe to my channel, like this video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!